of Management Studies IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course MMPC-012 titled Strategic Management for MBA Program. Presenting Block 1 titled Introduction to Strategic Management. Unit 1 Concept of Strategy.
Concept of strategy. Objectives. After reading this unit, you should be able to define strategy and understand its meaning, explain the relationship of strategy with that of policy and tactics, differentiate between different levels of strategy, know the importance of strategy. Introduction. The top management of an organization is concerned with selection of a course of action from among different alternatives to meet the organizational objectives. The process by which objectives are formulated and achieved is known as strategic management, and strategy acts as the means to achieve the objectives. Strategy is the grand design or an overall plan which an organization chooses in order to move or react towards the set objectives by using its resources. An organization is considered efficient and operationally effective if it is characterized by coordination between objectives and strategies. Strategy helps the organization to meet its uncertain situations with due diligence, and without an effective strategy, the organization is like a ship without a rudder. There are different concepts which actually describe strategy. There is no one definition of strategy as it changes with the needs and requirements of the organization. In this unit, we will learn different aspects of strategy. Now let us know the meaning of strategy. The strategy is defined as a plan deployed at each level of management for the attainment of objectives and realization of long-term goals of the organization. It is a set of coherent actions which are performed in order to gain a sustainable competitive advantage. The term strategy was primarily used in military and was later adapted to the field of business and management. It was derived from a Greek word strategos, where stratos means army and agos implies to lead. In management, the concept of strategy is taken in broader terms. Strategies are used to acquire a competitive advantage over others in any field. They can be general or specific strategies depending upon the situation. Organization deploys strategies for several purposes, such as for satisfying customers, surviving in the market, expanding the business, improving market share, increasing profitability, and ultimately to attain objectives of the organization. According to Gluck, strategy is the unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan that relates the strategic advantage of the organization to the challenge of the environment and is designed to ensure that basic objectives of the enterprise are achieved through proper implementation process. It lays stress on the following: unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan, challenges of environment, proper implementation for achieving basic objectives. Strategies are used as a response to the change in environment. They are adopted in accordance with the strength and weakness of the organization. The main aim of framing strategies is to seek out the opportunities favored by the external environment and mitigate the threats simultaneously. The organization can adopt strategies to achieve the desired position in the industry. There are a number of definitions given by different experts at different point of time. One such definition relates strategy to its environment. It says, strategy is organization's pattern of response to its environment over a period of time to achieve its goal and mission. This definition lays stress on the following: organization's pattern of response to its environment, achieving goals and mission. However, various experts do not agree about the precise scope of strategy. Lack of consensus has led to two broad categories of definitions: strategy as action inclusive of objective setting, and strategy as action exclusive of objective setting. Now, strategy as action inclusive of objective setting. In 1960s, Chandler made an attempt to define strategy as the determination of basic long-term goals and objectives of an enterprise and the adoption of the courses of action and the allocation of resources necessary for carrying out these goals. This definition provides for three types of actions involved in strategy: determination of long-term goals and objectives, adoption of course of action, allocation of resources. Strategy as action exclusive of objective setting. This is another view in which strategy has been defined in a way in which the organization, reacting to its environment, deploys its principal resources and siphons its efforts in pursuit of its purpose. Michael Porter has defined strategy as creation of a unique and valued position involving a different set of activities. The organization that is strategically positioned performs different activities from rivals or performs similar activities in different ways. The people who believe this version of the definition call strategy a unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan relating to the strategic advantage of the organization to the challenges of the environment. After considering both the views, strategy can simply be put as management's plan for achieving its objectives. It's basically include determination and evaluation of alternative paths to an already established mission or objective and eventually choice of best alternative to be adopted. Now comes features of strategy. As we know that strategy is an integral part of any managerial activity, at this point of time, we need to know the basics of strategy before we move further. To explain strategy, we usually say that it is a plan of action. This explanation tries to tell about the future course of action of strategy. This involves different parameters which actually defines the strategy. Mintzberg 2005 has given 5 Ps for strategy which integrates the past, present, and the future course of action. These 5 Ps are pattern, plan, position, perspective, and ploy. Now let us study one by one all of these Ps. First, pattern. When we say that strategy is a pattern, we mean to say that the organization has been consistent in following a particular course of action. Example, an organization which markets responsive products usually follows a high-end strategy, and this pattern is repetitive in nature. Pattern shows the past behaviors. This becomes the realized strategy. Next, plan. When we see strategy as a plan, it means preparing for future or looking ahead. This becomes an intended strategy. Usually, the organization witnesses quite a contrast between the intended strategy and the realized strategy. Here, if the intended strategy becomes a realized strategy, then it becomes a deliberate strategy. Otherwise, it is termed as unrealized strategy. In certain cases, strategy becomes an emergent strategy where the plans are followed but in steps. For example, an organization plans to diversify, but it does not take the decision of diversification at one go. Instead, it moves towards diversification in a stepwise manner. Next, position. In certain cases, especially in the niche markets, strategy is a position. For example, fast food chain wants to locate particular products in specific markets. Michael Porter has discussed the concept of positioning, thereby increasing the value of organization quite categorically. Next, perspective. Strategy is a perspective, which means that strategy looks at the vision of the organization. In position, it looks at the external environment, whereas in perspective, it looks at the internal environment. Now comes ploy. This is another way of looking at strategy. Ploy is the tactic used by the organization to outwit its competitors. These 5 Ps of strategy explain the concept of strategy under different situations. Therefore, strategy sets direction, focuses effort, defines the organization, provides consistency. Now let us know the nature of strategy. We learned how strategy can be perceived in different ways. The various views summarize the nature of strategy, which as follows. Strategy involves both organization and environment, and both are inseparable. Strategy is like a mosaic. It cannot be structured, programmed, routine, and repetitive. Strategy is futuristic in nature. Strategy is a combination of content and process both. Strategies are formulated at different levels. Strategy is an integration of concept with analysis for decision making. Therefore, we can say that strategy as a whole is the combination of 5 P's, which can be customized as per the requirement of the organization. The purpose of strategy is to determine and communicate a picture of enterprise through a system of major objectives and policies. Strategy is concerned with a unified direction and efficient allocation of an organization's resources. A well-made strategy guides managerial actions and thoughts. It provides an integrated approach for the organization and aids in meeting the challenges posed by environment. Now comes strategic management concept. We now know that strategy is a series of steps based on an organization's vision, mission, goals, and objectives. Strategic management is concerned with the effective deployment of business strategies for the achievement of the organizational objectives for the purpose of reaching the desired goal. Strategic management involves making strategic decisions at various levels of the organization. However, strategic decisions are taken at the top level of management and then transferred to lower level management. These decisions are related to moving from the present state of an organization to a future state. It basically develops a framework within which an organization functions. In other words, strategic management defines organizational capability, forms of value, addition, and the purpose of the existence of an organization. Strategic management. Now, what is strategic management? It is a medium and long-term process, begins with the formulation of a desirable future position for the organization, followed by decisions regarding what is at the core of the organization, setting up targets for reaching the future state, enables an organization to obtain an edge over its competitors in the market by analyzing the resources available with the organization, is formulating strategies for effective and efficient utilization of resources, matches the organizational capabilities with environmental opportunities, and is futuristic and organization-wide process. Therefore, we can say that strategic management is the process of formulation and implementation of strategies lying within the boundaries of the organizational resources in response to the environmental opportunities and threats so as to achieve sustainable competitive advantage over competitors. Now let us know strategy versus policy. We have understood the concept of strategy. Now we will learn the difference between strategy and policy. In earlier times, when strategy was not in organized form, the concept of business policy was more in use. Strategy was often used as a synonym of policy despite the fact that both are not similar in nature. Strategy is a plan of action, whereas policy is a set of rules and procedures. It is very important to understand the role that policy has to be interpreted with strategy for effective implementation. Policy can be general or specific, organizational or functional, written or implied, depending on the needs of the organization. For example, when the performance of two employees is similar, the promotional policy may require the promotion of the senior employee and hence she would be eligible for promotion. Strategy has often been used as a synonym of policy. However, both are different and should not be used interchangeably. Policy is the guideline for decisions and actions on the part of subordinates. It is a general statement of understanding made for achievement of objectives. Strategies and policies both are the means towards the end. In other words, both are directed towards meeting organizational objectives. Strategy is a rule for making decision while policy is contingent decision. This was strategy versus policy. Now comes strategy versus tactics. Sun Tzu, in his book The Art of War, wrote strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before the defeat. This shows the importance of tactics in accomplishing a specific strategic decision. Strategies is on one end of the organizational decision spectrum, while tactics lie on the other hand. While tactics lie on the other end. Karl von Clausewitz, a Prussian army general, a Russian army general, and military scientist, defines military strategy as making use of battles in the furtherance of the war and the tactics as the use of armed forces in battle. A few points of distinction between the two are: strategy determines the major plans to be undertaken, while tactics is the means by which previously determined plans are executed. The basic goal of strategy according to military science is to break the will of the army, deprive the enemy of the means to fight, occupy territory, destroy or obtain control of resources, or make them surrender. The goal of tactics is to achieve success in a given action, and this forms one part of a group of related military action. Tactics can be delegated to all the levels of an organization, while strategic decisions cannot be delegated too low in the organization. Strategy is formulated in both a continuous as well as irregular manner. The decisions are taken on the basis of opportunities, new ideas, etc. Tactics is determined on a periodic basis by various organizations. A fixed timetable may be made for following tactics. Strategy has a long-term perspective, and occasionally it may have short-term duration. Thus, the time horizon in terms of strategy is flexible, but in case of tactics, it is short-run and definite. The decisions taken as part of strategy formulation and implementation have a high element of uncertainty and are taken under the conditions of partial ignorance. In contrast, tactical decisions are more certain as they work upon the framework set by the strategy. So the evaluation of strategy is difficult than the evaluation of tactics. Since an attempt is made in strategy to relate the organization with its environment, the requirement of information is more than that required in tactics. Tactics uses the information available internally in an organization. The formulation of strategy is affected considerably by the personal values of the person involved in the process, but the same is not the case in tactic implementation. Strategies are the most important factor of organization because they decide the future course of action for organization as a whole. On the other hand, tactics are of importance only with specific part of the organization. An effective strategy is based on the strengths of the organization and also creating strengths of the organization. When it comes to creating strengths of the organization, then the tactics comes into play. For example, marketing strategy of an organization is to improve its performance on the social media. Then the tactics of the organization should be using an appropriate social media so as to communicate the message in the most effective way possible. Therefore, it is important that strategy and tactics should align themselves in such a way so as to make the strategy effective. Now let us study the levels of strategy. It is believed that strategic decisions making is the responsibility of top management. However, it is considered useful to distinguish between the levels of operation of the strategy. Strategy operates at different levels. These are corporate level, business level, functional level. There are basically two categories of organizations. One, which have different business organized at different directions or products groups known as profit centers or strategic business units, SBUs, and other, which consist of organizations which are single product organizations. The example of first category can be that of an organization which is a highly integrated producing textile, yarn, and a variety of petrochemical products. An example of the second category could be an organization which is engaged in the manufacturing and selling of heavy commercial vehicles. The SBU concept was introduced by General Electric Organization GEC of USA to manage product business. The fundamental concept in the SBU is the identification of discrete independent product or market segments served by the organization. Features of SBU: because of the different environments served by each product, a SBU is created for each independent product or segment. Each and every SBU is different from another SBU due to the distinct business areas DBAs it is serving. Each SBU has a clearly defined product market segment and strategy. It develops its strategy according to its own capabilities and needs with overall organization's capabilities and needs. Each SBU allocates resources according to its individual requirements for the achievement of organizational objectives. As against the multi-product organizations, the single product organizations have single strategic business unit. In these organizations, corporate level strategy serves the whole business. The strategy is implanted at the next lower level by functional strategies. In multiple product organizations, a strategy is formulated for each SBU known as business level strategy, and such strategies lie between corporate and functional level strategies. The three levels are explained below. Corporate level strategy. At the corporate level, strategies are formulated as per the policies of the organization. Characteristics. These are value-oriented, conceptual and less concrete than decisions at the other two levels. These are characterized by greater risk, cost and profit potential as well as flexibility. Mostly corporate level strategies are futuristic, innovative and pervasive in nature. They occupy the highest level of strategic decision making and cover the actions dealing with the objectives of the organization. Such decisions are made by top management of the organization. The example of such strategies includes acquisition decisions, diversification, structural redesigning, etc. The board of directors and the chief executive officer are the primary groups involved in this level of strategy making. In small and family-owned businesses, the entrepreneur is both the general manager and the chief strategic manager. Business level strategy. The strategies formulated by each SBU to make best use of its resources given the environment it faces comes under the gamut of business level strategies. Characteristics. At such a level, strategy is a comprehensive plan providing objectives for SBUs, allocation of resources among functional areas and coordination between them for achievement of corporate level objectives. These strategies operate within the overall organizational strategies, that is within the broad constraints and policies and long-term objectives set by the corporate strategy. The SBU managers are involved in this level of strategy. The strategies are related with a unit within the organization. The SBU operates within the defined scope of operations by the corporate level strategy and is limited by the assignment of resources by the corporate level. Business strategy relates with the how and the corporate strategy relates with the what. Business strategy defines the choice of product or service and market of individual business within the organization. The corporate strategy has impact on business strategy. Functional level strategy. This strategy relates to a single functional operation and the activities involved therein. This level is at the operating end of the organization. Characteristics. The decisions at this level within the organization are described as tactical. The strategies are concerned with how different functions of the enterprise like marketing, finance, manufacturing, etc. contribute to the strategy of other levels. Functional strategy deals with a relatively restricted plan providing objectives for specific function, allocation of resources among different operations within the functional area and coordination between them for achievement of SBU and corporate level objectives. Sometimes a fourth level of strategy also exists. This level is known as the operating level. It becomes below the functional level strategy and involves actions relating to various sub-functions of the major function. For example, the functional level strategy of marketing function is divided into operating levels such as marketing research, sales promotion, etc. Now comes the importance of strategy. With the increase in the pressure of external threats, organizations have to make clear strategies and implement them effectively so as to survive. There have been organizations that have completely become extinct and some organizations which were non-existent earlier and now have become the market leaders. The basic factor responsible for differentiation has not been governmental policies, infrastructure or labor relations, but the type of strategic thinking that different organizations have shown in conducting the business. This is where the importance of strategy comes into picture. Strategy provides various benefits to its users. These are: strategy helps an organization to take decisions on long-range forecasts. It allows the organization to deal with a new trend and meet competition in an effective manner. Strategy helps the management to be flexible and meet the uncertain situations. Efficient strategy formulation and implementation result into financial benefits to the organization in the form of increased profits. Strategy provides focus in terms of organizational objectives and thus provides clarity of direction for achieving the objectives. Organizational effectiveness is ensured with effective implementation of the strategy. It gets managers into the habit of thinking and thus makes them proactive and more conscious of their environment. It provides motivation to employees as it paves the way for them to shape their work in the context of shared corporate goals, and ultimately they work for the achievement of these goals. Strategy formulation and implementation gives an opportunity to the management to involve different levels of management in the process. It improves corporate communication, coordination, and allocation of resources. With all the benefits listed, it is quite clear that strategy forms an integral part of an organization and is the means to achieve the end in an efficient and effective manner. Let's summarize this unit. In this unit, we introduce the concept of strategy. Strategy is the conscious and rational management exercise which involves defining and achieving organization's objectives and implanting its mission. Strategy is a major course of action and is a blend of internal and external factors and is particular to a specific situation. It is dependent on environmental variables and is futuristic in nature. Strategy is a series of action plans which are adopted by an organization to achieve the ultimate goal of profitability, growth, and survival. Strategy is based on 5 P's, that is pattern, plan, position, perspective, and ploy, and is operational at 3 levels: corporate level, business level, and functional level. Strategies are lifeblood of business activities.
We were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies IGNOU for MBA program. Course code MMPC-012, titled Strategic Management. Course coordinator Professor Neeti Agrawal. Voiceover by Chitra Gaur. Edited by Ashok Sharma. Program assisted by Tarannum Jahan. Program produced by Dr. Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.